Hello, and welcome to Love Songs at Night. I'm your host, Venus Flytrap, joined by Dr. Johnny Fever, playing the romantic hits of the 70s, 80s, 90s, and today. Coming up, we have Celine Dion, Leanne Rimes, but now it's Faith Hill with This Kiss on WGnWC 3.16 on your radio dial.
I like how you got in our initials. That was really good. I appreciated that.
You gonna talk over the song, or
Was that supposed
I'm
to
jamming
go?
out right now?
Oh,
It's gonna
Was I
get
supposed to
content
go-
flagged, but who cares? It's a good
was
song.
I supposed to go with the bit? I sorry. Did I blow the bit?
Oh, I mean, listen, you have to be like 45 years old to get the reference, but
Good point.
yeah. So
I'm the Duke. He's Larry, and this is going to be our Clash of Champions special presentation. But we're going to get to that in a little bit. We're gonna review the rest of the week first, and then we'll get to Clash of Champions at the end with predictions and whatnot. With that, Larry, take it away.
yes, hello, I am Larry, by the way. And we'll start in the SmackDown Live universe of the WWE. And let's talk about it for a little bit here. Anything stand out to you about SmackDown Live, good or bad, this week?
Ziggler Miz was a fantastic match. Was just a good all around good and great wrestling match. There you go.
Yeah, it was great. It was, okay. And it was great at the same time, and it was good.
And I know we've seen them fight a lot, but it was
I
a
think
good
we've seen them
match.
fight in every commercial break as well.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So we're seeing a lot of Miz and Ziggler, but
We've seen a lot of Miz and Ziggler for 2 years, and I don't want to bring that up to everyone's attention.
Sure.
It's not just the last 2 weeks. It's been like 2 years. They've had that.
Sure.
They had a trade-off last year. They had something a couple months ago. Like, it's like safe, I guess is the word for it, but it's like the same. I don't know.
It's one of those weird things where it's just like who else fits in the picture at the moment, because it seems they went with Cruz, and that I won't say it fell flat, but it was pretty uneventful. And I don't know if maybe we'll get back there again or what'll happen, but anyway, in a vacuum, I really liked that match. That match was really good, start to finish. I liked it.
I did too, and
the
I
match itself, not necessarily the context of we've seen these guys fight a lot.
no. Listen, the match was really good. It was main event caliber. I also didn't mind the finish, and I know I get stuck on this a lot. The whole like, why the hell is your champion not winning clean? Rah rah rah. But he is the heel. Let's take it back in the realistic world of wrestling. Maurice going for the cheap finish, like with the spray, getting tossed out, Miz picking it up on the outside. I mean, like, it's classic, and
Super classic.
and it works, and it really like. See, this is why I don't like the bully, coward angle, because it's an attack on one person, and yet these shenanigans go on all the time. So
Yeah.
why now? What makes this special?
Yeah,
And-
why is Miz a coward when Bray Wyatt always runs away? When even baby faces at times, they don't necessarily run away, but they bow out of a fight at times.
Yeah.
So,
Why aren't the Usos a coward for cowards for attacking
Right.
somebody's leg and
Right.
whatever. It's just dumb. It's just like drawing attention to one thing when you can kind of spread it out over the whole universe, so to speak. I just
Sure.
don't get, and I just got to keep this, like the Steve Blackman streak. And by the way, the Blackman 5000 looks incredible today.
I love it.
Like the Steve Blackman streak, which has been on and off. I kayfabed it, kind of like Goldberg. It's been going for a while.
Yeah.
Like that
It's
streak.
totally 173-0.
Yeah, totally.
Songs
He
we
beat
ignored
Raven
last
like
week.
112 times out of that. We have to point out, or I have to point out weekly, that why is your general manager, the most over babyface in the history of SmackDown Live, bullying The Miz when your company takes a hard stance against anti-bullying measures? I unless there's a payoff in the end, which still doesn't work well because it's your face being the bully, then that means the bully wins. I don't get the long play here, but I will say this. I am absolutely thinking The Miz and Rusev get swapped.
Yeah.
Champion for champion trade down the line. Or Miz loses the title, and a loser in a match we're going to get to later will be traded for The Miz. So it's like
Gotcha.
fresh for both of them kind of deal. But
Gotcha.
yeah, I mean, other than that, it's just speculation, and it's just, just more of the nonsense we do, internet booking, trying to make sense of something that we want something to make sense out of.
Yeah, the other more positive direction I could see would be that Miz maybe doesn't necessarily have a babyface turn, but in the end, Brian respects him for pulling off a big win, and then maybe, and you have a genuine moment between them, and then maybe Miz slaps him or something like that, so Miz can still be the best heel in the company. So
I think Miz could be a tremendous heel in the company right now.
Right.
And I just don't think there's a position for it, and I just don't think what they've done with him lately is going to sell anybody on it except for smart mark wrestling fans who want something better for Miz, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like one of those roles that, hey, you can bury somebody without initially, physically burying them by just making them look bad for so long. Jack Swagger, champion of the world at one time. The Miz, champion at the world one time. If any of these guys were at the top now, and there's big separation between Swagger and The Miz, don't get me wrong, but if either of those guys were at the top right now, I mean, you want to talk about people getting mad when Sheamus was the champion.
Yeah.
Things
I agree.
Things would go wrong. Anything else on SmackDown?
The women's segment was really good. The opening women's segment was really good.
It was pretty good. I mean,
I like that Alexa was actually really aggressive.
Oh, I love the table flip.
Yeah, the table flip was
my God.
I was like, oh, Becky, move your leg.
When she's like, you may be Becky Lynch, but for today your name is Cameron, and she just flipped the table. That was my favorite part of it.
That's totally what she said.
I read lips.
In Larry's head.
I read lips.
That was Larry's head canon.
It was closed captioning. I think it was translated Spanish back to English, but whatever.
Fantastic. But yeah, I liked it. And Becky's speech was really good. Fine speech.
Why is Baron Corbin destroying Apollo Crews? What did Apollo Crews do?
I don't know.
Why can't Baron Corbin destroy Mojo Rawley?
Well, I thought that was leading to something, but it seems like it's just leading to
Swagger.
Somewhere else, which is odd. So,
I mean, Apollo Crews is the kind of guy you don't really feel like should have lost like 6 matches in a row.
Yeah.
As much as they hype this guy post WrestleMania, it's kind of like dead. The guy
that's what I was saying. It's just like you had him in an Intercontinental Championship match that was not bad, but not tremendous. And then since that loss, he just keeps losing and losing, or not having a match because he's getting manhandled outside the ring and so on and so forth. It's odd. It's strange. It's a strange place for him to just I don't know.
So many guys on the roster that could have fulfilled the spot of Baron Corbin bullying. Let's say Mojo Rawley, Zack Ryder, anybody really. But it seemed like you wanted to kind of protect Apollo Crews, but that didn't happen. And it hasn't happened for a while. It looked like it was happening, but
for the better part of at least a month now.
Yeah. Let's talk about Dean Ambrose beating John Cena clean.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
That was pretty crazy. Unexpected, or were you kind of like it could happen in your mind?
I didn't really know.
I was expecting AJ involved. Double DQ, double.
I was kind of expecting. I wasn't necessarily expecting a screw job finish or screwball finish.
I'm just saying no contest is what I was kind of thinking.
Yeah.
Like neither of these guys can lose right now is what I'm thinking.
Oh yeah, but sort of hindsight and like knowing the facts after the fact, which sort of messes with me. Going forward too, when we start talking about No Mercy and stuff. Cena's leaving again soon to film, so he's in the same mode he was. Like, this whole return for him has been build up the SmackDown brand. It's build up a new champion in AJ and build up a new contender in Dean Ambrose. So, yeah, he's doing his job, and he's doing it well. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like the idea of John Cena being part-time, but helping the business at the same time, because he kind of fits that mold that Jericho was in between tours. It's like, well, now you can't ever take him seriously. You can't take feuds seriously. You can't take title matches seriously. With Cena, he can probably win a title and not be around, and still, and still the show will go on. But I don't know if he would want to do that personally. But certainly I don't see him as a guy who wouldn't put people over in between stints away. And if that's what he's going to be right now, then it's kind of like, oh, here comes Cena again. All right, he's going to put over this guy. All right.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where, and this isn't to denigrate The Rock, but the difference between Cena and The Rock is The Rock has gone out and made a name for himself, period. Cena goes out and he's still sort of the WWE guy who's really charismatic and charming and hilarious and all this other stuff, but he's still seen as the WWE guy.
Yeah.
The Rock is pretty much Dwayne Johnson everywhere now. People still say Dwayne The Rock Johnson, but that's like, Michael Air Jordan or Air Michael Jordan, however people would say it. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, it's more of a nickname now than
I'm actually
some on-screen persona he used to have.
I'm actually trying to think of a better reference for you, but all I can think about is Michael Air Jordan now.
Yeah, well, Magic Johnson is another one. He's always Magic Johnson, even though his name was actually Irvin Johnson. So
Rock Reigns, like Tim Raines, he's known as The Rock as well.
Yeah,
there you go.
But yeah, it's but Dwayne The Rock Johnson is Dwayne The Rock Johnson, and The Rock is a nickname for him now more than it is this persona that made him who he is.
Yeah.
Whereas John Cena, now it helps that John Cena is always John Cena. That's his freaking name.
He's not John the prototype Cena.
Yeah, exactly. That helps, but he's John Cena in WWE. He's John Cena when he's on Good Morning America. He's John Cena when he's on American Grit. He's on
the Today Show, by the way.
Oh yeah. Well, whatever.
Michael Strahan's on Good Morning America.
John's been on there too.
Has he? I'm sure he has.
I think he's been a guest at least. But anyway, you get my point. I'm belaboring it like
I'm filibustering it like nobody's business right now.
Yeah, you're killing me.
I'm doing it. Going in.
So yeah, he's John
boys.
Cena. He's John Cena everywhere, and people still see him as the WWE guy who's just like super talented, and they don't want him to just be a WWE guy, so they just keep pulling him away as much, but he keeps coming back.
Yeah.
Whereas The Rock is show up for WrestleMania, beat someone in 6 seconds, have a stupid flamethrower, and
maybe do 1 or 2 Raws a year.
Yeah, maybe. So
I don't think we've had a Rock on Raw since, or did he do the whole drive the pickup truck in after WrestleMania? Or was that before?
I forget if that was before or after at this point.
Yeah, I forget what it was.
I mean, there was the whole embarrassing Lana thing. I can't remember.
Oh, that was it. That was the same. That was the same thing. It was before WrestleMania then.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. I want to nitpick on one thing.
SmackDown, good show. Not the best it's been, and we saw a lot of repeat stuff.
Yeah.
But everything still makes sense. Everything still moves forward.
Well, I do want to nitpick on one thing.
Smack is good.
One thing on SmackDown.
Yeah, go ahead.
Why did you take out American Alpha? It just seems like I harp on the same things every week. Why do you take out American Alpha after they beat the Uso in seconds? You take them out of the tournament. You don't have the Usos win the tournament as the villainous, spoiling the party people. And then you have the Usos beat the American Alpha on TV. What's the whole point of it? Is it like just protecting them? because now they lost and they have the reason they lost because of Gable's leg. Like, can we stop this protecting crap?
It's definitely protecting them. I mean, whether you agree with it, enjoy it or not, that's definitely
It's just
what
so
it is.
stupid. Can people just win and lose now? Like, you have so much 50-50 booking going on, but then you have that, and then you have a roll-up situation. It happened somewhere, and I even forget where it was, where a dude just flat out won via a roll-up. And I think it was on SmackDown. It might have been on Raw, where I saw it.
I mean, Dean technically won with a roll-up.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. He kicks out of an AA. John Cena kicks out of the Dirty Deeds, and then he wins with a roll-up.
Yeah.
Can't have him lose in anything else but a roll-up. A roll-up's supposed to protect them, but...
Fun fact, WWE.com is down right now. Not sure what's going on.
Is it? I'm on it.
Oh, well,
I
you're the
might
last person on it.
I might be, I have 4 tabs open with it, so I might be killing the bandwidth. Actually, no, I just refreshed and it refreshed.
Oh, well, for some reason, apparently I'm blocked from WWE.com.
Yeah, you probably said too many nasty things in the comments, and they were probably just like, you know what, get rid of this hoser.
Totes my goats.
I don't know who that is.
But we move on.
Well, yes, we do. How about NXT tonight?
It's pretty good. Building new stars, for sure.
It is pretty good, and I want to put a but here, and I have to pull up the listing. All right, here's what I don't like, and I've said this before. Everything I don't like, I've said before, and I feel like I repeat myself every week, and I apologize for the people that hear it every week. But Samoa Joe listing off Nakamura's injuries when NXT tours every week and Nakamura is wrestling every single show. Like, why does NXT live house shows exist in an alternate universe than the tapings of the main show? Can you explain that to me?
Well, because that's how it's been for the main roster for years, and they're just doing the same thing.
I don't know.
I'm not saying it's a good thing.
No,
I'm
mean
saying
main roster.
That's their mentality. If it's not on TV, you don't know it happened, even though we all know it happened.
It just seems like it's more of a exposing the business when you get on that level of that in the intelligent crowd watching the NXT product, and then you're still trying to pull the wool over their eyes, like you don't know Barry Darso is the Repo Man and in Demolition.
What?
Exactly?
Just kidding.
Was he Repo? I don't know if I got the wrong one. I think I
don't know.
But whatever, you know what I mean. You're trying to pull the wool over our eyes that Kane is not Lawler's dentist or a fake Diesel. It's just a totally new guy, like the first ever SmackDown Tag Team Champions, the first ever SmackDown official pay-per-view. No, it's not. We've had him before. We've seen Epico and Primo before too, by the way, WWE.
Yeah. They've existed before.
Yeah, so that's why I don't like the whole, I don't like this whole thing. They took Nakamura out doing normal wrestling moves outside the ring. He had to get stretchered out because of that, and now they're doing the whole 12 to whatever, 6 to 12 weeks he's going to be out, and he's wrestling house shows. So I don't care for that. Aaliyah coming out doing the face thing and not the heel thing, I don't get that.
Yeah, I thought you'd say something about that.
I wasn't happy. I mean, she didn't look like the old Aaliyah, where I was just like, she just doesn't have it. Like, why is she in the ring? She was still pretty good. Billy Kay was okay as well. I'm not fully on board on the Billy Kay train.
Yeah.
Liv Morgan it just leaves a little to be desired right now. But you have to transition Asuka to do something, I guess. And
I mean, she's got to do something, and
everyone's got to do something.
Yeah, and I don't think they want her destroying someone like Billy Kay, who's already been on SmackDown at this point. Maybe
or Ember Moon.
Ember Moon, not yet.
Not yet.
That's something they want to really play out, and there's the whole sanity thing.
Yeah.
When that happens, which I believe there'll be a female involved in that. So.
Oh, you don't know? Because I thought you were spoiling something.
Oh, I totes know, but.
Well, now we know it's female. She's female.
No.
Okay. I just think that
you don't know that.
Well, else we wouldn't have brought it up this segment. I don't think that NXT has done a good job with the women as they have with the men. Now they take relative unknowns and they make them known. Alexa Bliss, Carmella, Bayley, Sasha Banks. They do a lot with what they have and who they get, but they haven't gone the way of like big free agent signings. I mean, we have Asuka, we have Nikki Cross, we have Ember Moon, Athena, but they haven't really brought in big names. They've still graduated fitness models. Dana Brooke, I don't know where Aaliyah came from. Mandy Rose is definitely not an indie wrestler.
Aaliyah seems homegrown, and Mandy Rose will be as well.
And so is Liv Morgan at this, really.
Yeah.
So they still are doing the whole fitness model as women wrestler kind of mold, even in NXT. I think the division is flat because of that. Like we said, most of their best people have graduated. Asuka has nobody. And whereas the men have graduated too, they've brought in people. Nakamura, Rude, Aries, Almas, you know what I mean? So it's not just like Cutler, Dawkins, Ty Dillinger, and Nakamura.
Right.
Like there's a whole host of people there. Even though Jose, he's homegrown, but he is good, elevated.
I mean, he's sort of homegrown. He actually wrestled on the indies.
Well, a lot of the men find their way from indies.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah.
But they don't necessarily have to be. But the women, they still hire fitness models.
Well,
or athletic.
And to be fair, there aren't that many women on the indies. So.
I mean, there's full promotions of them around the world. So there's enough to make up promotions and stuff. It's not like you have like one in the Northeast. One person.
Proportionally.
Yeah.
Proportionally compared to the guys. That's what I'm saying.
Even more of a reason to go get the best of the best.
You don't have as many people to choose from, and some people and just like with the guys, there's plenty of people. There's a proportion of the proportion that they're happy doing what they're doing. They don't necessarily want to be in WWE.
Right.
So,
and it took them
so
talking.
that whittles it down even more.
I mean, they probably had to talk to Asuka for a long time to talk her out of her office job in Seattle to come and perform.
You're sticking with that story, huh?
Dude, I heard it somewhere, and I swear it's true. But and she took off part time and went to wrestle in Japan on her off, with her free time.
Really odd that she's having to relearn English. Then
I think it's all fake.
It's all fake.
I really do. One last thing on NXT, I want to say that Cedric Alexander, man, is just earned my respect.
He's such a freaking massive star, and it's just amazing that
I didn't care about him in Ring of Honor.
The handful of things that I have seen of Ring of Honor, I just happened to see him, and I'm like, man, who is this guy? And I didn't necessarily like him because of how they were using him, but man,
I'm just like, here comes Cedric Alexander again. All right. But my God, what are they going to do with Cien Almas?
I don't know.
What's the hug thing at the end? I mean, Jesus Christ, clothesline the guy, please.
Thank you. I'm like, where's the turn?
You just lost like 7 matches in a row. You haven't beat anybody not named Ty Dillinger. Can you snap?
Get mad.
Can you rip off the ring announcer's suit, bang a chair against the ring post, flip up the mat?
I'm wondering if at some point someone and I don't want anything to actually happen to him, but I'm wondering if at some point he's going to suffer some sort of face injury and he's going to go back under the mask. And when he goes back under the mask, his attitude will change too, and he'll go more La Sombra and be more of a heel at that point.
I really think, and I said this last week or the week before,
that.
I really think the turning point to Cien Almas just being meh is Elias Sampson getting injured. I think he's Elias Sampson right now. And like one's face, one's heel, sure. But I think he's fitting the role of the dude that comes out that has like a high profile name within the company. And just putting everyone else over.
And he's having to fill that role until Elias Sampson comes back. And And maybe even they had plans for them to be against each other too. You know,
Is that what I said last week? That's what I said last week, right?
I don't think you. I don't
I
remember
think
if you
that's
said that
why
last
I
week
said
or not, but maybe you did. But
yeah, I think CN was going
to work. They were both supposed to work their ways up and toward each other until, you know, sort of like Corbin and Cruz.
Yeah.
Where they're sort of following the same path on opposite sides, and they conflict at some point, and then they start feuding for title shots and getting in title matches and things like that.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
yeah.
All in all, it was.
You don't really have anyone to do that with besides Ty, but Ty's been in a match with everybody. So if Ty all of a sudden starts knocking people off, you're like, whoa, what's going on? You know. So
I really do think like Ty deserved that TV show interim title match with Nakamura, let's say, the way that Liv Morgan's getting it with Asuka. Like, I think that would have been cool if they just had a night of tag team championship matches on like regular TV.
Yeah,
like just, you know, make it special or whatever. They've done it before, way back in the day. I think they even had WWE titles on the show as well during that same show that I'm thinking about. Like the U.S. title was defended, but just to keep it in-house, keep it NXT, but have like the women's title match, a tag team title match, like you know, Dawson Dashin versus I always do that. Dawson Dashin.
Yeah, I heard it.
Dashin Dawson.
I was letting you get by.
That's
with
not
it,
a jiggler thing though. That actually
No.
slips me up every time I say it. Not on purpose. Just whoever tag team match, and maybe even Gargano and Ciampa. Maybe do a tag team title change on TV. They've done that plenty of times before. But Asuka and Liv Morgan, and then they could have had Nakamura versus Ty, and then Joe interrupt that match or whatever. By the way, what a bad job teasing that Samoa Joe was going to put people out, and he didn't interrupt every single match on the show. I'm still waiting for that day, dude. Still waiting for the day.
Still want that guy.
The one guy, a la Sandman back in ECW, that just interrupts every single match until he gets what he wants.
Sandman or 911?
It was Sandman. It was Sandman lost the title to Mikey Whipwreck, I think, because of Steve Austin. And I think every match on that show, he came out and...
oh, yeah. 911 was interrupt bad matches.
Yeah.
That's what that was.
911 was... Yeah. Before people chanted for CM Punk, they chanted for 911 when there was a bad match.
Right.
So,
Gotcha.
Oh, nice. Speaking of CM Punk, let's talk Monday Night Raw as the Steve Blackman 5000 moves its way down.
Sure.
Best
Raw
part
is moments.
What's that?
Raw is moments. That's kind of like all I have to say about it.
Well, let me put this.
I'm gonna
Let me
keep
put this
going
in
back on
perspective. We've got something else that I've been asking for a long time.
Yeah.
Jericho's making lists.
Yes, he is.
And how did he not have, like, number 1, Mick Foley can't do an armbar?
I know.
Number
That would've
3,
been
Mick
great.
Foley can't do an armbar. Like, how was that callback not there?
Because Jericho, while being very intentionally entertaining and while finally relenting and letting them make a shirt for him despite him being a heel, he's still a heel and he's not going to do things that people want him to do.
I don't know. I think he does, man.
His philosophy is, I'll have catchphrases, but I'm not going to do things that people want me to do just because, you know, I'm popular. I'm still going to leave people wanting more. So
It was so good. I didn't really care for the segment as a whole.
No,
because
the segment was a mess.
Because it turned away from Jericho going after Foley and turned into,
Right.
like, let's bring everyone down with a microphone.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, all right, well, obviously we're setting up some sort of 8, 10, 12-man tag match. So let me go make my popcorn now.
But I am getting more and more interested in a timeshare in Puerto Rico.
I really am, too. I can't tell you the last time I would have admitted to Epico and Primo, like, making me pop. But I kind of think I like
They're
them
getting
now.
there.
They're getting there. I mean,
Getting
maybe
there.
not the wrestling, but the whole, like, handing out brochure stuff. Oh, it's so good.
Well, and Epico's extremely dorky impression of Enzo, like very intentionally just nerdy impression of Enzo on the apron.
It does the
was
dance. Yeah.
when he did the dance was unbelievably
Owens doing the dance was better, but that's because
Right.
it's Owens. You know what
well,
I mean?
and that's because like to me, Epico was very intentionally making it as, like goofy
Yeah.
looking as possible because it was supposed to lead to a spot, And it was a good spot.
No, it was. They did it. They did the Sasha Banks Bayley double pin thing.
Yeah. And
planned all along, or
completely,
do you think it was so
know.
obvious that they were just like, all right, we got to make up for this, like kind of like Eva Marie not kicking out of the pin?
Yeah, who knows? It's one way or another, but I will say that's another that was as bad, if not worse, than Sasha going to Mick asking for a handicap match, and then Mick talking her down from it. And saying, but you'll still get a handicap match if you lose tonight.
Yeah, I want the handicap match, but no, you're not going to get it. You're only going to get it if you lose.
Right.
Okay. Sounds right. Sounds good.
I'm only going to.
No, she was banned from ringside if she won, though, so there was motivation.
Yeah, but it didn't make sense.
It didn't make sense asking for it, but the whole conclusion
the setup
was,
made no sense.
Yeah, I get how you mean.
Well, and so I'm relating that to this week's segment of Dana saying, hey, neither one of them should be in the match. Technically, they should have been pinned. See, this is what Foley should have done. This was the logical thing for him to say, well, you're right. Both of their shoulders were on the mat, which means you won. So it will be you, Dana Brooke, versus Charlotte.
But she didn't win.
For the championship.
She technically didn't win. It was still a double pin. So it's like there was still no winner.
Okay, fine. Then there was no winner, but still
redo the match.
She didn't lose, just like, you know what I'm saying? She lost the least of the three people in the ring. So.
Well, what about the Baron Corbin, Sami Zayn, Samoa Joe situation when you had the double tap, double pin, whatever it was? Corbin was on the losing end. Well, he was on the losing end. Dana Brooke wasn't on the losing end here. Never mind.
Right, exactly.
But I did like the whole Dana Brooke, look, I'm trying to do good. Oh, I screwed up again kind of angle.
But I didn't understand Mick's side of that. Once again, the person who's sort of supposed to be the babyface in this scenario has just a complete lack of logic. Like, it just didn't make sense.
He's just yeah, you're right, Dana. You're right, Charlotte. But I hate you, so I'm going to put you in a match with two people.
Yeah, It just like, it
have a nice day.
Sense. Yeah, it didn't make sense. Like, her argument was, hey, make them fight again.
Yeah,
they obviously didn't win, or there's obviously not a true contender. He's like, screw it, let's just put them both in the match. That's essentially what the conversation was.
Basically,
that makes no sense.
Basically, the last thing I want to address on before we move on to talking about more of the other stuff on Raw incorporated with the matches. The first ever Cruiserweight match on Raw ever. Brian Kendrick defeated Grand Metalik, Cedric Alexander, and Rich Swann to become the number one number one contender. Duke, why wasn't the champion on the show before the main show? Before the live special? Why did the champion not get FaceTime, not get recognition to fans?
Why was the champion on the pre-show?
Was he on the pre-show?
He was on the pre-show and did an interview with the pre-show panel with his title in gear. Why was he on the pre-show and not on the actual show?
I think he might have done a match for main event or Superstars or whatever it was.
Fine, but still.
But
back to your question. I'm asking the same question.
Right. Okay, I'll answer it. Well, I won't answer. I'll answer it with another question. It's your main roster. It's your main show. It's your flagship program. There are people who watch Raw who don't give a crap about NXT, CWC, the Raw pre-show.
Who don't even watch the network. There's still people, casual people, who think, nah, I'm not going to pay $10 a month. I'm just going to pay $55 every time a show shows up.
They'll pay $10 a month, but they'll only care about the pay-per-view.
Sure. Okay.
They don't care about anything else, and maybe they'll watch a Stone Cold match from back in the day or a Rock match back in the day, and that's all they really care about.
But they're not watching extra events.
No, not at all. And that's both of our points right now. You have a champion that you're going to put into a match, And then what do is you put out the safe guy who's been on the program before and you have him win, which is fine. But you're not putting your champion out there so that people give a crap about him.
But how does anyone know who Kendrick is?
Because he's been in WWE before, the same way that people know who the Headbangers are, or who, whoever comes back are.
All right. Okay,
he's a name. He's been there before. He's been referenced. Enough. Longest tag team champion ever. New Day broke that streak. So,
sure.
Not saying a lot of people know who he is, and not saying you know who he is, and if you're not over the age of 27, or maybe 25 or whatever. Sure. But it's like the WWE safe thing. This guy has been on the show before. He's had titles in this company before. Let's put him over, because fans will care if they see somebody they have seen before win this match. And champion, who cares? We'll just bring him in on the main event, on the live special.
On Sunday, and we'll get to it. On Sunday, they're gonna have T.J. Perkins, this complete stranger, come out. Like what the heck? Just this random guy. I mean, it's like he's a traveling champion that doesn't even belong in, or doesn't even. He's not even a main roster WWE guy. It's like he's still an outsider on Sunday, which I don't know. Maybe that could work. Maybe they can make that compelling, because
they're not going to make that point. Compelling. Like, they're not going to do it that way. They're just going to bring him in.
Oh, I know. I know. They're just going to have the match, and they'll show clips of him from CWC, and I don't know.
Yeah, we'll get to more on that in a second. Yeah, it's coming up in 2 segments. So let's move on to the pre-show for Clash of Champions 2016. Alicia Fox versus Nia Jax. It's one of 8 matches announced for the night. This one being the only one announced for the pre-show. But I'm sure Cesaro Sheamus will get bumped to pre-show. Do you know of something else?
No, I'm just making noises because.
Were you blowing into your ice cream?
No, I'm finished with my ice cream.
Oh, okay.
No, just.
You want to give a plug out? Because maybe we can get free stuff.
Arctic Zero.
There you go. It's not just a Gatorade flavor anymore. It's an ice cream flavor as well.
Yeah, the chunky version has only 300 calories in a pint, and it's non-dairy. It's non-dairy. It's non-GMO. It's fantastic ice cream. Tastes great. And then the creamy versions have only 150 calories in the whole pint.
You can send that to. You can send samples to Duke, care of Atlanta.
Exactly. Yeah. Just that's all you have to.
That's all you have to do. It's like North Pole. That's all you have to do. Duke C/O. You can even do it like that. Atlanta. Or A-Town.
Arctic Zero.
There you go.
Send them sponsor pints.
Alicia Fox versus Nia Jax. Anything short of another Nia Jax beatdown with maybe a little bit of fire beneath Alicia's Fox? I don't know.
By the way, do you know what?
I wanted to say Weave, and I was reading her name, and I said Fox instead.
Do you know what a group of foxes is called?
A jackal.
A leash.
There's got to be something to that.
Seems so. It seems so. I mean, that's like, it's like one of those things. It's like that's actually too clever for WWE, but it's just clever enough that it has to be true.
That is the smartest thing they've ever done.
It has to be true.
That is the greatest thing they've ever done that flew underneath my radar.
A group of foxes is a leash of foxes. So, a leash of fox.
Wow.
Alicia Fox. There we go.
So, listen, commenters. I understand you found that out in 2006, but this is new to me, all right? So, leave me alone.
Yeah. Oh, well, I didn't know until I saw it somewhere else. So, I saw it on the interwebs. Yeah, I suspect you're calling it exactly right. It's going to be a Jax match, but we'll see a lot out of Alicia. Don't expect to see a Northern Light suplex in this one. If we do, I'll mark out.
Like, what's that sound? It's time for WCW booking. There's no sound. I'm going to pretend I'm going to put sound there, but there's no sound.
Okay.
If WCW booked Alicia Fox versus Nia Jax, are you ready for this?
Go.
Alicia Fox is going to go psycho like she's done before on the main roster. Start pouring Coke over her head or Gatorade or whatever she finds underneath the ring.
Oh, that kind of Coke.
Flip out you know, this is a Raw show, so there's no hat and there's no announce table by ringside. But maybe she'll, I don't know, who does the ring announcing for Raw? JoJo? Maybe she'll grab JoJo's microphone or whatever and throw it across the ring. And then take off her boot and start wailing Nia Jax with it until Eva Marie comes out. Alicia Fox turns her attention to Eva Marie. Nia Jax, I don't know, bear hugs Alicia Fox into submission, and there you go. It's WCW booking women's wrestling in WWE. How's that? Is it as bad as nonsensical as I can make it?
I despise it. I hate it because of what they've done to build Jax's character, and especially when they did the cool spot with the spear. I really look forward to a good match. I see people say it from time to time, and I'm noticing it more and more. I want to see more out of Nia, in that she can have an extended match. But
yeah, there's only so much you do with her to make her look like... That's a WWE model. Make somebody look like a monster. Make them win in a minute and a half and do 3 moves.
Right.
You know.
I mean, they did okay with her on NXT, but a lot of times you'd see her pretty winded, which I know she hasn't been in developmental that long, and typically she's just the person who helps ladies take chest bumps, you know. she does that hair throw thing.
It's basically all they showed her on Breaking Ground.
Yeah, that's like, we saw that multiple times, and they were like lining up to take the hair throw bump, which was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. But not.
By the way, the hair pull into the railing like 180 degrees was probably one of the best women's spots I've seen on the main roster. Like devastating women's spots I've seen on the main roster.
Oh, it was nasty. Yeah.
Absolutely. I you know, before the spear even went in, it was brutal in that regard.
Yeah.
And
it was ugly before we, in a good way, before we even got to the spear, and then that was a nice little cap.
All right, 2 questions for you.
Yeah, go.
1, Nia Jax wins, yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay, number 2, how much of the time of possession in offense is going to be on Alicia Fox's side?
I hope it's even. I hope it's 50-50, honestly. It's probably going to be about 70-30 Nia's way, though.
I'm thinking like 60-40, 55-45. I think
sure
they're going to make Alicia Fox look... I'm not saying they're going to make her look strong or protect her or anything, but I think...
But make her look like a viable competitor.
Make her look like a former Divas champion, a former,
like,
you know, person on the roster. I mean, listen...
Which makes sense for Nia to start knocking off people like that.
Right, and when Alicia Fox is out of that role, you have Summer Rae, you have Paige, you have Emma, you have Tamina Snuka. Like, you have these people who are going to be there in waiting while Charlotte fights Dana Brooke, Sasha fights Bayley kind of thing. So they might have 3 women's programs going on at one time in a month or 2.
Sure.
Which would be pretty good.
Be nice. Especially since they're giving them so much time. Hopefully they'll start spreading that out among more people instead of just having them talk ad nauseam.
Absolutely. All right, so let's move on to the Cruiserweight Championship match. We both have Nia there. So the unknown TJ Perkins goes in against the red-hot The Brian Kendrick. Well, we talked about the Cruiserweight match before, but the only thing I didn't say is, like, I was acting like I was like 25 years old again, and being like, I want this to fail. But like now I'm watching it, I'm like, why do I want it to fail? It's everything I want in wrestling. And I was getting into the match, and then I was noticing, I'm like, okay, the crowd's receptive of the match. They're cheering, they're oohing, and the eyeing, the flipping, and the high spots or whatever. But when it's not high spots, they're kind of unemotional.
Yeah,
detached from the match, but let me say this.
Yeah, go ahead.
They were not booing. They were not mocking. There were no borings. There were no CM Punks. There were no JBLs or whatever. Like, they were watching. I don't know if it was respectful or they were just quiet, but then they were oohing and eyeing the high spots only, it seemed. But it seemed like they got into it at the end. It seemed like it was winning them over. I don't know about your take.
I think the guys worked their butts off
to
get that match over, and like, seriously, with the crap that I'm probably going to continue giving the booking of it all, the guys in the ring are working their butts off.
I think any 2 of the people you put in there are going to work their ass off.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the booking,
So-
like you said, is going to be the main. I pointed to the microphone when I did that too, like you were right
Yeah.
there. It's going to be the main thing, and that's kind of what I'm scared about. This match going into Sunday, we already talked about T.J. Perkins was basically invisible. One promo, but it was like almost not voiced over. And then Brian Kendrick, who was a WWE superstar that people may or may not remember. What are you going to expect out of this match, and what do you want to happen in this match for it to win the hearts of people about the Cruiserweight division?
I just want to say one more thing about TJ Perkins not being on Raw. Why not at least have him walk out wearing the title at the end of that match? At the very least.
You want an original
Should have
idea?
done so much more.
Right.
But at the very least, just have him walk out so people see, oh, that's who he's going to be fighting. That was the point of this match.
Did you want an original idea that they could have done?
What you got?
Something they've never done before? T.J.
that?
Perkins at the announce booth?
I know. He could have gotten, and we've seen the dude knows how to give a passionate promo, and the dude knows how to give people credit where it's due. I think he could have gotten everybody in the ring over even more, especially Grand Metalik, and especially since you had Grand Metalik going all the way to the end of that match, and he can put over everybody on the way to the finish, and then you get to the finish, and he's like, oh, now I have to fight someone I haven't fought before.
And then Brian Kendrick walks down to
interesting.
Brian Kendrick walks out with his flag and confronts him at the announce booth, and then, hey,
It says "Yar."
yeah, he
and
says,
then he
"Yar.
walks off.
My name's Spanky. My pirate name's Spanky," and he leaves, and that's it. But as far as the match goes itself, how does this match sway
I'm
people's?
gonna filibuster one more time. This is super quick though. I'm not trying to make you mad. I thought it was great that the bully choke was renamed to the Captain's Hook.
Oh, yes.
On International Talk Like a Pirate Day.
I was gonna say something like that. I didn't know it was International Talk Like a Pirate Day.
Yeah, it really was.
But I was
It
going to
really
say
was.
something about that. I'm like, oh, look, plays to my point about Daniel Bryan being a bully. They don't even want to say the word on TV.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And then, yeah. But that was
but yeah,
that was a lost
International
point
Talk
that I
Like
had
a
at like
Pirate.
10:55 on Monday night. But
I couldn't. I'm like, oh, they call it Captain's Hook because he's got this pirate gimmick. Oh, wait a second. I remember seeing something on Twitter today. No way, because like Krispy Kreme was giving away donuts or something for dressing like a pirate. Anyway, that's not a.
how many plugs are you going to give, by the way? We don't have Chick-fil-A in Long Island. Can someone make that happen, please? Thank you.
Yeah, Chick-fil-A.
Go ahead.
Chick-fil-A. Ready to go. Okay, back to the match. I would assume, even though as far as the Raw audience is concerned, he doesn't exist, I would assume Perkins retains here.
I think it's too soon for him to lose the title.
Yeah,
Although,
I mean,
although
like the first
WWE
time-
main roster
the first
mentality.
time we see him, he loses it? What? I mean, that would be bad, right?
WWE main roster mentality. If you never seen the guy before, no one gives a crap about him. And we know Brian Kendrick held titles in WWE before. I don't think he's losing the title one off. I really don't.
And I know you missed these a lot of times, so I'm going to bring it up, and I will link it to you once we're done here. But the WWE.com interview with Kendrick was amazing.
Oh, I don't doubt it.
Really good. Okay, so
He's got a good story.
yeah, I'm not going to spoil it for you. I'm just going to say watch it, and anyone listening, watch it, because it's like you're going to watch it and you're initially going to be like, whatever, but by the end you'll be like, whoa, that was pretty cool.
So for this match
that's
itself,
as
though,
far as I'm going to go with it. I expect this match to be really good. I hope they give him plenty of time to work. I expect Perkins to retain.
I think it's going to be a nice opening with a lot of flippy floppy from Perkins and a lot of bailing out of the ring behind the referee's back from Kendrick. Kind of cater to both sides of the audience.
Sure.
Like you have the heel being heel. He's not being a cruiserweight. He's being heel. And then you have the champion being a spot monkey. Everything that cruiserweight stands for, quote unquote.
Yeah. I really hope we see some of Kendrick's, like, really his legal dirty tricks, like trapping people's arms in the turnbuckle.
Oh, absolutely.
And stuff like that.
Absolutely.
That's one of the most creative uses of a turnbuckle pad I've ever seen in my life.
Here's a term you're going to hear. He's pulling out everything in the book. Or
Sure.
whatever the phrase is. Probably not that term, but he's using everything in the book. You know what I mean? It's like he's he's doing everything he can within the legal bounds to have an advantage. And I think you're going to have a heel versus a cruiserweight kind of match. And, yeah, it should be good. And I hope they get like 20 minutes opening the show and start the show out with a bang.
That'd be great. That'd be great.
Because I think the show is going to be lost a little bit in the next couple matches.
Yep.
Let's talk best of 7 series, Cesaro versus Sheamus.
Come on, Sheamus, pull this out, bro. Do it.
I
Do it,
can't
Sheamus.
not agree more. I am not rooting for Cesaro.
Yeah.
I don't like how they've been portraying Cesaro since the draft.
Yeah.
Like stock down in a huge way. I don't want to see this guy break the glass ceiling all of a sudden with his current character.
Well,
Yet he's still in a role where you want him. They want the fans to pull for him.
Well, and let's be honest. I've said it before, and I hate to say it again because the guy is super talented, but he didn't do himself any favors. I mean, honestly, the WWE has done more for him recently than I feel like he's done for himself. So,
and the matches are kind of getting textbook.
Yeah, he's kind of. God,
maybe textbook is not the blueprinted or whatever. Like,
no, I get what you're saying. They're like templates, but it's
templates. There you go.
But it's. I don't want to sound harsh, and I don't want to sound like just a freaking keyboard jockey, even though that's essentially what I am. But man, he's proven what Vince said right. Like so much of me wanted to believe that was Vince trying to sort of manipulate him into being more than what he was, and I feel like he was heading in that direction. And between Tyson and then his own injury and everything like that, just something. It just seems like the wind's just completely out of his sails, and he nailed it in the draft post show, and then just fell flat after that on his own, from what I can tell.
And listen, I'm never really a vinegar jar is half full kind of guy. But I will say this.
What?
It's something I just came up with.
Okay.
The vinegar bottle is half full. It means I'm optimistic, except pissy at the same time.
Except it's vinegar.
Except it's vinegar. I'm wondering if the whole thing is intentionally sabotaging Cesaro, but like he's in on it. It's not like the WWE is burying him. It's like we're just gonna kill your character for a little bit and then have this revitalization period. And I said it before. What if The Miz loses the Intercontinental title? Doesn't have the leverage for a new contract anymore, although it does look like they've signed one, I guess, by the promos, but play with me here.
Sure.
And Daniel Bryan doesn't want to re-sign him. Or doesn't want him on the roster anymore, or whatever, and he wants to get out of his contract, so they trade him to Raw for Cesaro, a person they've always wanted anyway.
Sure.
Now, who cares if Cesaro lost the series? That was on Raw. This is SmackDown Live.
And he can...
where he can lose to Baron Corbin.
Well, and he can come out, we can have, like, some random new music playing, because a lot of people hate his music, from what I understand.
I don't like the whole Bond opening. I liked it, like, the first 2 times.
Including him, by the way.
Oh, including him?
Yeah.
Hey, listen, he could always come out to Jack Swagger's music, and we can have the Real Americans again.
Oh, no, we don't need that. But
why not? We need tag teams.
Because he's not American.
He's American. We can bring back Jeb Coulter, and his scooter.
Where
SmackDown ramps bigger now. It's scooter accessible.
Way off book with this, but I think that would be cool.
All right.
I like the idea of that, and I like the idea of Miz, you're gone, but the title's staying here. And so,
or the Miz loses, and Daniel Bryan's like, "Oh, by the way, Miz, we've traded your coward ass."
Sure.
Right after the loss, like insult to injury, like you're going to Raw or whatever. But that's not really like an insult. But WWE wants you to believe it is, because they're playing the fans to choose one or the other, and
Sure.
trying to alienate their own product by not letting some people enjoy both.
Yep.
Both going with Sheamus, right?
Yeah, Cesaro will probably win, but I'm picking Sheamus.
All right, quick question for you.
I will mark out if Sheamus wins, though.
I kind of want Sheamus to win, to be honest. Yeah. Quick trade question for you. Would you rather Cesaro for Miz or the guy I was thinking about before for one of these other two guys that I can't remember which one was which? Which one would you rather?
That's not very helpful.
It's a valid question if I could remember the guys' names. Let's move on to the tag team title match. Maybe it'll pop in my mind.
Ready, go.
Anderson and Gallows versus The New Day. One, are we really even invested in this feud to care? And two, what sloppy outcome is going to happen that New Day retain the titles?
I don't know, man. It really needs to be. I feel like maybe after the cruiserweight match, you need to have Gallows and Anderson go and request that no one be at ringside, that it be strictly a 2 versus 2 match or something like that, and where they win the titles if someone else shows up at ringside. I hate to have stipulations for stipulation's sake, but it's not really stipulation's sake. You have a 3 versus 2 disadvantage, and the 3 are the baby faces in the feud. It just makes sense for the heels to, heels always outmaneuver baby faces, and baby faces have to overcome it. Well, let the heels outmaneuver the baby faces and actually get one over on them this time. Gallows and Anderson need to win this. I mean, come on. I love the New Day. I love the guys, and I love that they got themselves over with an initially crappy gimmick. But come on. I mean, the tag team titles are just so they're pointless now.
Now?
Well, I mean, they have been.
Barry Windham and Mike Rotundo are the last people to ever make it mean something.
No, there's been plenty of.
Oh, that's right. Apple Primo's first run. You get the point, though.
There've been these guys named the Hardys. There's been these guys named Edge and Christian. There's been plenty.
But that's not really that's still playing into my point of it being 21 years ago.
Well, it's been the Attitude Era since it really. Well, I mean, London and Kendrick, they had it for a long time.
They just had them, though. They weren't really doing anything with them, and now
Yeah, but yeah,
So what you're saying is this match needs somebody to come in and be the cleaner.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Why not? I mean, they've made deals before to get Liger and do other things. Why can't
that would be unbelievably amazing? So if we're booking fantasy spot of maybe the decade,
if Ring of Honor would book this match, the decade? What did you just say?
I said, talk about fantasy booking of the decade.
I heard decade, and I'm like, what the hell does BJ Whitmer have to do with it? That's what I pulled at. I don't listen to you talk a lot, but I heard that one word.
Apparently.
And I'm just like...
Apparently.
I'm like, I think you got the wrong faction, buddy. Stop being a hoser,
no. So what I said was, fantasy booking of the decade would be someone else from the club showing up, whether it be... like you said, the cleaner, which would be pretty appropriate since he has a good relationship with the New Day, especially Xavier Woods.
Lights out, Adam Cole, baby!
Or the freaking Young Bucks.
I mean, it's more realistic for it to be Kenny Omega,
than anybody else.
Yeah, because I think, I don't know how the contracts work when you're working both, Ring of Honor and New Japan Pro Wrestling, but I'm pretty sure Kenny Omega's not signed the Ring of Honor. He's per appearance, whereas the Young Bucks are contracted Ring of Honor, contracted New Japan Pro Wrestling, and they just have to work out the terms between dates, kind of thing. So I think it's more realistic.
Kenny Omega is sort of writing his own destiny at the moment. So
is he?
No, I'm just saying
okay.
With what you're saying. Yeah,
no.
he's sort of on a. All right, I'll do this date, this date, this date, and this date.
Yeah, in Ring of Honor, yeah.
Make it work.
And let's not overlook the fact that Kenny Omega tweeted and said, "What's everyone doing Sunday?"
Really?
No, that's absolutely made up, but that might be something that would happen.
Why would you lie?
Because
why do you lie?
I mean, when you heard me say,
"Are you freaking
Twitter?"
Gallows?
When you heard me
Gallows
say
is-
Twitter,
Gallows
you should have
lies
known
and
it was a
drinks.
lie.
That's what he does. Yeah, I should have actually.
No, but that would be
a
pretty
week
good.
of messages to get your attention.
I get no notifications. I just happen to have it's Wednesday. Oh, okay, we're doing the show today. Let's see if Duke sent anything, and I open it up and I check. No. Let's not say I don't check it Wednesday to Wednesday. I check it. I do, and then
You just ignore anything.
I just don't get your messages like 2 minutes after you send them. It might be like a half an hour after you send them, or like 4 hours when I'm finally at the computer and I'll see it.
I know. Let's move on.
Well, we don't have a winner in this match.
I picked Gallows and Anderson because they just need to. Like, what purpose do they serve anymore if they aren't the champs after this weekend?
New
What
Day.
purpose does Gallows and Anderson serve anymore?
New Day is like a bowl of Bootio cereal after Raw when it's been handed out stale. So I'm gonna go with
From Big E's boot.
that was pretty good though. Gallows. I'll go with Gallows and Anderson too because I'd like to see New Day without the title, looking to reclaim the title or just moving on, would be fresh in and of itself. So they don't have to split up. They don't have to go heel. They can just be themselves without the titles and do something else. Be on a different side of the ring or whatever. And I think it'll be what's old is new again. And not to say people aren't into the New Day, but that might get me back into the New Day. So we'll go with that.
I still think they need to make a run at the U.S. Championship.
I think with the divided roster, it's stupid as this sounds, I think with a divided roster, there's less of a chance of people in the tag team or lower mid card actually getting there. Like, I just feel like
Oh, I know.
it's now main event
Which
territory.
is dumb, which makes no sense.
It makes no sense. His roster's in
Right.
half, but now they have no chance to do it, whereas the roster was wide open and Big E was U.S. Intercontinental Champion one time, and Kofi's been it many times, and now it's just like it's not going to happen. Okay, doesn't make sense, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like you got to make your stars, I guess, and then finally open their eyes to this. And now they have to do it because there's diluted rosters. But even though they still have the time to put 3 of the marquee women in one title match, Duke, is it too soon for Sasha Banks and Bayley to be in the same ring?
I think so.
I think you killed any sort of Sasha versus Bayley moment.
Well, I mean, that's been Raw since the brand split, though, right? Have Finn Balor show up on night 1 and win everything, and win in his very first paper, which I'm fine with, but I'm just saying that's Raw's MO, is just string moments together and don't really have any sort of logical stepping stones from one thing to another. Just shoot people instantly to the moon. And I don't hate it because with both Balor and Bayley, both of them probably should have been on the main roster sooner than they were. But yeah, but here we are.
I think, well, okay, perfect timing for both of them, I think. I think it worked really well for them, and it obviously worked well for their careers, barring the injury and whatever happened, because they were both in the spotlight and thrusted to the top like ASAP. So I think it was good. I just think, and this is going to come out wrong, but I don't know how else to word it, Duke, so please
All right, go ahead.
help me. I think they made a mistake in that 3-way match, having Sasha ever touch Bayley. Ever.
Sure.
Those two should have looked each other in the eyes, stared each other down, and then Dana Brooke should have came out from under the ring or from outside the ring and break up what the fans probably wanted to see, and both of them go at it. And then this match should have been kept one-on-one, and then like you save the Bayley versus Sasha match for something a little bit more marquee, and then you can properly build it up with the NXT library to show the people who've never seen it before, hey, this is why you care about this match. Remember at the time where it was before Kevin Owens debuted on Raw to answer John Cena's U.S. challenge. I think it was the week before that. They said, hey, after Raw, go to WWE Network. We're going to show you the Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens match. You don't want to miss it. Like, for no reason whatsoever. And then you watch the match.
Yeah.
Now people know who Kevin Owens is, and Kevin Owens came in and I think that's how it happened. I think they showed the match, and then later, like the next week or week after, Kevin Owens debuted on Raw challenging John Cena.
Sure.
They should do the same thing. Hey, by the way, in the lead up to Sasha versus Bayley for the championship at Survivor Series, we're gonna play 3 matches of theirs, like a 3-match special where they'll do one of the matches early on in their career, then the Brooklyn match, and then the Iron Man, Iron Woman match. And they should make a special out of it, a collection out of it. And they should properly promote it on Raw. And they should have had the title match then happen thereafter at the next live special so people could get invested in it, or had the possibility even to get invested in it.
Well, let me throw this out there. And this, like, me telling you this is going to prove the point that I'm making. So WWE is really good at putting things together and not promoting it properly. Guess what? There's a collection on the network called The Four Horsewomen, and it's all of their journeys through NXT. It's all 4 of them. You've maybe heard it one time ever on the shows, if at all.
I think maybe if you did, it was on the scroll on the bottom where it's like new to the WWE network this month.
Right.
You know,
right.
something like that.
Yeah. But it hasn't been promoted like you said. And if people would, if going into this match, or even when Bayley showed up on the roster, if you said, and if you want to catch up on Bayley and how she fits into this picture and the history she has with Charlotte and Sasha and other women in WWE, then check out the Four Horsewomen collection to get caught up. Like, if they would have just done that once or twice, I mean, with all the other stuff that they over promote, that is just pointless over promotion, why not promote things that actually fit into what you're doing?
Or heaven forbid, you have some sort of lettering system you can put over the screen to alert people of these things if you don't want their announcers talking about it.
Sure.
You know, flash it on the screen on the WWE network, you know, best of the Four Horsewomen or whatever.
Yeah, and do it when it's relevant.
Instead of playing the Total Divas song every time a female wrestler is walking to the ring, how about promoting something that's going to matter towards the actual wrestling portion of the actual sports entertainment portion of the women's division? Now, I also say, like, I hate social media. I hate all this stuff. Like, why do I have to watch Twitter or Facebook or Instagram to find out all this information? But it's not so much that I have to go through all these outlets and I want all my stuff to be on the flagship shows. It's the fact that I don't know about it and I have to go searching for it like it's some indie game free promotion code. Like, I have to check all these websites, I have to check this, I have to check that, I have to check everything daily. Oh, do we got more keys in stock? No? Okay, I'll try back tomorrow. What about this site? It's a hassle. That being said, this match is a triple threat match. Bayley and Sasha will be in the ring at the same time, probably fighting each other. They're probably not going to do what I talked about that should have been done a couple weeks ago, because this is a live special show, pay-per-view show, so they're probably not going to pull that kind of shenanigans. Who's going to win? And why?
Oh, Charlotte's going to win.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Do Bayley and Sasha take each other out, cost each other the match kind of deal?
I suspect yes. And
then now, does Charlotte move on to fight Dana Brooke? Or does Charlotte still... Yes, really?
Yeah.
Wow, you're going along with everything I say. So Nia Jax against new female opponent who re-debuts on Raw. Sasha versus Bayley, Charlotte versus Dana Brooke for the title.
Yeah, that's exactly what makes sense.
And to bring up this point that I brought up...
With the story they've been telling, that's what makes sense. It doesn't necessarily make sense, but with the story, within the realm of how they've been booking it, that's what it sounds like they're doing.
Now, I told this story last week, but with Charlotte and Dana Brooke, it's amazing to me how many of the casual people who roll in and out of my household that sit and watch wrestling with us from time to time, how many of them say they want to see Dana fight Charlotte than care about anything Sasha and Bayley have done together in the ring.
Yeah, it's not what the, quote unquote smart crowd even see, like, even recognized
Right.
as a thing, but it's what casuals are reacting to.
They
and
recognize the pattern of wrestling's
Yeah.
history.
Yeah, it,
But
it's wild.
it kind of opened my eyes, and I'm just kind of like, you know what? That's not really a bad direction. It's not that bad.
You know, people. I've seen people hate on Dana a lot, saying she was called up way too early.
Oh, just reply and say, but what about her hair, though? And
Yeah.
they'll be like, all right, well, yeah, all right. Keep it 100.
But a lot of people talk about, you know, that she was supposed to be Emma's sidekick, and then Emma got injured, and then all of a sudden she's like a hair away from being in some sort of title feud.
I see what
and
you
it
did
looks
there.
like it looks like we're getting closer and closer to it. But yeah, I suspect.
Well, I don't know. Let's not forget she beat the SmackDown Live Women's Champion like 7 times in a row clean.
But the matches weren't good.
I think she looked great.
Okay, you're still talking about her hair.
Absolutely fantastic hair. I should have put her in this picture too, so I can look at it.
Yeah, but I suspect
Steve
Charlotte
Blackman, the
retains-
look on his face is like kind of how I look, and when I watch Dana Brooke matches, I'm just kind of like that hair.
I suspect Charlotte retains. There's some sort
Unbelievable
of
weapon.
Bayley and Sasha confrontation, and somehow, some way, Charlotte gets mad at Dana for something, and
I think Charlotte's going to win despite Dana Brooke messing up,
Sure.
and then get mad at her, and then on Raw finally be done with her for like the 9th time,
Right.
And
for
then,
real. For
for
real.
real.
This time.
and then like I don't know, maybe Dana Brooke gets a Bo Dallas pep talk, and then feels herself. By the way, what was with the I was kind of excited with Dana Brooke, the club, and that was
Yeah.
like a 1-day thing. And I totally
Yeah,
forgot about that.
I think having a female associated with the club would be good, but I don't think Amber Gallows would be too high on that idea.
Well, I mean, Vince cuts the checks that feed the family, so
I get it.
it's not like they're going to be making out in the ring.
I get it.
You know?
I was just making a joke.
Just name dropping. Does she like the ice
Relax.
cream too? We don't know. By the way, I like Amber O'Neil better.
Sure.
Just saying, it's more recognizable. All right, I'm gonna go with Charlotte too. Some Dana Brooke shenanigans causing a false finish, and then or Dana Brooke tries to get involved. She gets herself tossed out. Therefore, Charlotte doesn't get the win at that point in time where she did good, but just was seen. And then it becomes a non-factor outside the ring, or non-involvement because she's in the back, and then Charlotte still retains anyway because of
And Charlotte does what she did with Rick and says, "I just proved that I don't need you."
Yeah.
Which is fine. I'm okay with heels using a tired trope because they're heels.
Yeah.
I'm much more okay.
You gotta
with a
put
heel
over
doing that
faces
than a baby face.
Yeah, you got to put over faces, but you can always stick heels into that same old trope.
Yep.
So, do you know what's a trope?
It.
Wow, I can't believe you got that. The more you paused, I'm like, oh man, he's looking at the lineup right now. He's trying to figure out how I'm transitioning this, and he's going it. And then you said,
Well, I
it.
was trying to think of something related to Jericho. I'm like, oh, well, this is easy.
I can't believe no one ever thought to say "you stupid idiot" and then point and then like it. I really want.
I love that Owens is just so in on whatever Jericho's doing. He just nods in approval with Jericho doing the finger, and then
That is my point, man. They get backstage time together, and then they're nowhere involved together near the wrestling ring. Like, every promo that has to do with either one of them includes the other one. They have their one or two backstage segments, and then they're never with each other at ringside.
which makes me think that they are going to come into conflict soon because they keep showing them backstage because it's freaking money.
It is money, man.
But they don't. Over the past probably 3 weeks, they keep very seriously separating them, and especially now that you got Jericho facing off against Zayn, it's the dots are connected. It's not that hard to sort of weave him back toward Owens, and all of a sudden they're, I'm not sure who's going to win this match. I'll just pick someone, but I'm not sure who's going to win this match.
I'll pick it. Go ahead, pick it now.
All right, I'll pick. Oh man,
I think it's classic Jericho putting over somebody's spot.
I think it's going to be Zayn, Jericho putting someone over, as well as
comedic fodder for Jericho Owens the next day on Raw too.
Well, there's that, but also to sort of start driving a wedge where Owens sort of, or Owens sort of.
You were supposed to send him to the back of the line, and now he's whatever.
Yeah, Owens sort of gives him grief about it to an extent. And then Jericho can kind of get in his face and be like, "Well, the last match you had with him, you lost too." So
I don't want that to happen. Stop talking.
What?
Stop giving people ideas. I don't want that to happen.
I think that's where they're going though, because they keep separating them. They they put them together, but then they separate them. They're all together, separated at the moment.
Yeah, I know.
So, but anyway, I'm gonna pick Zayn, because he really needs like what has he done since he had that knockdown drag out with Owens? It's
kind of like NXT. What has he done in NXT except for that one time he won the title?
Yeah, exactly.
That's Sami Zayn's career.
Champion.
Yeah. I think it's a classic Jericho putting somebody over spot, and I kind of fear the day I see a Fozzy touring schedule, and then kind of like, all right, well, Jericho is kind of on his way out, I guess, because this is the best Jericho. And I think this Jericho could even have like a U.S. title run if it wasn't on Rusev. You know what I mean?
Sure.
If Reigns wins it, I really hope that. I hope that Jericho wins this match, Reigns wins his match, and then somehow Jericho gets involved with Reigns to give me at least hope that Jericho can have a title run, especially with this character. Man, it would be pretty awesome. Be pretty awesome. He's doing he's knocking it out of the park.
Especially when he has custom scarves made that look like the championship he's wearing.
Yeah. There you go.
Unbelievable.
Or he just wears this
$750 scarf.
Or like instead of introducing a spinner belt, he just introduced a championship scarf.
Championship scarf, I like it.
And that's all it is. You like what?
But Zayn wins?
Yeah, Zayn wins. It's a classic Jericho spot until I see otherwise, I guess.
And I like it.
It's... speaking of it, you can't spell U.S. title without IT.
That's right.
And that's where we're leading to. Rusev versus Roman Reigns.
It's actually in there twice.
It's in there.
It's United States title, so it is there twice.
Wow.
You're welcome.
That's a haiku.
I don't think it is.
Oh, okay. Stairway denied. Rusev, Roman Reigns. I kind of like the ending of Raw. If not so much the fact that, well, I mean, Roman Reigns beat your champion. I don't know how much, because that goes to my point on SmackDown the week before when they had The Miz lose. You could have had AJ lose. Champions do lose, and a champion lost on Monday Night Raw. The champion lost on Monday Night Raw. When Reigns escaped the cage first before Kevin Owens. I like the ending where both of them were beating down. Owens and Rusev were beating down Roman Reigns. And Seth Rollins made the save.
I don't understand Seth Rollins making the save, but okay.
I don't
I didn't hate it. It's all your top guys in the ring at the same time, but it just still seems a little illogical to me.
They had that double count out earlier in the day, Seth Rollins and Rusev. Yeah. So I don't know if that was really spillover from that, because I was pretty sick on Monday and I didn't really get into Raw until like hour 2 when I finally was feeling a little bit better. So I totally missed the pre-show too, so I missed TJ Perkins on that. But it's kind of what the fans want, and kind of what Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins need right now is they need to be the Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose. The good brothers. You know what I mean?
I like the idea of them being reluctant partners and everything.
I don't think that does them any favors to the fans, though.
Well, and not like they get thrown into tag matches together or anything like that, but just where somehow they keep ending up on the same side accidentally. and so they just sort of roll with it. And it's not that they
Friend
have
of my
each
enemy.
other's- Yeah, exactly. It's enemy of my enemy is my friend. It's it's more
Friend
more
of my
like
enemy.
that
That
where
doesn't
they're
make sense.
just what's that?
I said friend of my enemy doesn't make sense. I don't think anything I says makes sense, but I roll with it sometimes.
I bailed you out there, but
Yeah, thank you.
But yeah, I think it.
That's
I
care
think
of
I
Atlanta.
like that idea, but I don't know. It's just so weird because you got Seth who's so talented in the ring, but he's a pretty good heel, but people want to cheer him because of the injury and the WWE 24 and all that. And then you got Reigns, who people just are so reluctant to cheer and so eager to boo, and the company just keep pushing him into title pictures when most people don't feel like he belongs there, whether it be, where he is, how he exists within the business.
It's not like hey, well, he
personal
lost, so what are you
choices.
complaining about? It's the fact that, well, he lost, and the fans are going to boo him, and they're going to cheer the other guy as a result. So why are you even putting the other guy in that situation as well?
Yeah,
That even makes no sense.
yeah. It's just it's all the. And it's kind of how Raw works, is like you're booking everything around 1 to 2 guys, as opposed to, looking at, like with SmackDown, looking at a division. It's not, the women's division isn't booked around Becky Lynch. The women's division is booked as a division. How do we make this make sense? How do we make the number one contender someone to be respected and feared in the match? Well, we put a mic in her hand because that's what she's freaking fantastic at, and she can and oh yeah, the champion is also an amazing actress who can act like she's been cut to the core when the contender brings up nasty things.
I'm sorry, that was Rusev and Roman Reigns?
What's that? Yeah, I was totally talking about Rusev and Reigns.
I
no,
don't...
but I was just saying, that's I got on a rant, but obviously, but the whole weirdness here is booking everything around 1 or 2 guys on Raw, but those 1 or 2 guys are Roman Reigns.
I mean, Raw's doing traditional textbook main event roster booking. We have one championship match this month. So those are the only 2 guys in the division. We have one U.S. title match.
No
this
one
month.
else exists.
No, everyone
Like, no
else
one.
exists, but they're not even in contention for anything else. Like
Right.
Cesaro Sheamus is the closest thing to like a number one contenders match thereafter, because the winner was promised something.
Oh, I forgot to bring up. Well, can we do one more quick fantasy booking thing right at the very end?
Oh
So
yeah, I
wanna
have
come
an
back
aftermath.
I want to come back to that.
When
match.
Blackman's head hits the bottom, it's next to aftermath. So
yeah, that's
it's
right.
kind of like the fantasy cantina. We can just talk about whatever we want.
Sweet.
Nice and
All right, so
relaxed.
I'm going to pick Rusev.
I'm gonna pick Roman
Rusev.
Reigns
Okay.
because I'm interested in seeing who they pair Roman up with if he's the champion.
Well, because you wanted to be Jericho.
That is right,
Well, you
Don.
said it. You said it.
I did say it, but I don't know. Like I'm looking at this and I'm like, if Roman's champion, ho hum. But if Rusev's champion, like then what? Like, are we in a situation where like the loser of one title match is going to contend for the other? So Owens is going to be fighting Roman Reigns and Rusev's going to be fighting Seth Rollins.
I fear we are, but then there's also the idea of, the winner of Cesaro Sheamus gets a title shot.
So
but
that's what
I
you want
have-
your next pay-per-view headliner to be: Owens versus Cesaro, and Roman Reigns versus Rusev again, or Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns versus Rusev, or
No, I don't want it to be that, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying that's what the that's
Well, that was a
that's what
global you. That
that's
was
how
like
it's booked at the moment.
yeah. God, I don't know. And I really can't see this match spilling over another month. Like
Yeah,
this-
it really doesn't need to. It's stretched out, and it hasn't been a bad feud. It's just you've got
it's the
guy.
Well, it's the
that-
Rusev Ziggler feud all over again. It started, it stopped, it started, it stopped.
That's true.
And here it was hot.
And somehow
for
it revolves around Lana.
and it was 2 honeymoons in between. Like, this feud has been going on for so long that he's had 2 honeymoons. I don't know if you noticed that.
And 2 weddings.
And 2 weddings. Like, he was married twice during this feud. That's how long it's been going
during
on.
this feud. Yeah.
So it needs to end, but I'm trying to just picture what happens on either side if either person wins. And I'm thinking Jericho Reigns is probably your best thing going. Kurt Angle Rusev, though, no, it's not going to happen. Let's move on.
All right.
Universal title match time. Kevin Owens versus Seth Rollins for the McDonald's Championship belt.
I'm loving it.
Totally, yeah, I'm loving it. Totally stolen, by the way, by somebody's username on some keyboard warrior message board. Someplace. But I think WrestleZone. That was. Yeah, I mean, listen, you have your champion lose a cage match to Roman Reigns. It doesn't get putting Roman Reigns over more than that. So is that going to be one of your classic examples of you make a guy look bad to make him look good at the pay-per-view? Like, he lost going into this pay-per-view. He lost the match. So does that mean he's going to win this time?
Well, he lost the match, and Rollins did the splash at the end too, which he was, he took just as much as Rusev did. I mean, both of the guys, both Rusev and Owens were on the losing end of that final confrontation. So the typical booking situation would be both of them go over this weekend. So I'm going to pick Owens for this because it's just too soon. I think there's too much you can do with Owens to make him a transitional champion
I got it.
right now.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
No, I understand now.
What do you mean?
Because I said, well, here you go. You're going to have, Owens is going to fight, who did I say? Roman Reigns next month. Because Roman Reigns had the victory over him. Rusev's going to fight, or whatever I said. Like, I matched it up, and I'm like, all right, well, then you have Rusev versus Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins for the time. No. Triple H is going to get involved. And then it's going to start to be Triple H versus Rollins at Survivor Series.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So
I mean, it could even be a triple threat. Well, and it's Survivor Series. It could even be a freaking fatal 4-way, and you have the Shield versus Triple H just to put a tidy little bow on that whole thing and let them all beat up on each other.
Hey, what's Batista doing lately?
And oh wow, that'd be interesting.
Well, that was that was a Survivor Series match, I think, too, right? The Shield versus Evolution.
Yeah, it was. But I'm not saying something like that. You just have a fatal 4-way, and they can get in their triple power bomb spot, and then they can do their shield. They can actually do the shield salute, but then start beating each other up. So it's like they all get back on the same page. They all respect each other, and the fans go crazy for seeing them do that. And then they all get into the ring and they beat up on each other, and then Triple H wins at the end.
Except you need a way to force Ambrose into that because he's on the other brand, and it's a dual brand pay-per-view. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's something that can happen, but it could be also
something that can happen. Well, and you can even say, I don't know. We'll see as we get closer if they start playing something up like that. But Ambrose doesn't have a championship on him right now, so he could float to something, quote unquote, interpromotional like that.
Maybe, or it could be one of your classic. It could be a red versus blue match, and it could be Triple H on the same team with Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, and that's the only way a red versus blue match would be interesting to me, is if you had that strange bedfellows combination where they're going to be fighting each other as much as they're going to be fighting the other team. Like, someone's going to cost their team the match because they can't get along with their own teammates.
Yeah, I'm still going to call it a fatal 4-way.
Yeah, I don't know if
they put Ambrose into it. They sort of have not a spiteful Shield reunion, but like an actual, all right, yeah, we really were better as a unit. That'll never happen again, but it's been It's been nice being in this match with you guys. So
be nice, but I think it's too forceful to get Ambrose in that situation. Whereas you can
Ambrose
legitimately have a
goes
Rollins
at that
versus
point,
Reigns
actually.
versus Triple H match.
Well, I mean, with that, Ambrose would actually go over at that point, and then maybe you could have Triple H come over to SmackDown for a little while. I don't know.
We like things.
But anyway,
like that.
I'm picking Owens for the match.
I'm gonna go Owens too, like you said, too soon. You're not gonna hot shot the title from an injury to throwing it to Owens to have him losing in the first live event special, like 3 champions in 2 live events.
Yeah,
like I don't think that's gonna happen.
That makes the title very weak from the get.
Yeah, you're putting it into that attitude era of all of a sudden Randy Orton's a 14-time champion and Edge is like a 11-time champion kind of thing. Yeah, I mean Roman Reigns is a 3-time champion, so I guess it's really not that far off. But yeah, too soon for Owens. By the way, yeah, we're both gonna go Owens. I think we agreed pretty much in every match except for I think I went Roman Reigns instead of Rusev.
Yeah, you did. You're wrong, but you did.
No, I'm definitely wrong, but I want to see Jericho. I want to see Jericho get the title. It's my heart speaking right there. But I remember what the question I was going to ask you was, which trade would you like to happen? Cesaro for The Miz? Cesaro for Dolph Ziggler?
I don't know. That messes with the fantasy booking I'm going to do in a second, so I don't have an answer.
Oh no, I mean booking aside, I mean if it's
okay,
if it's guys down, if Cesaro's going to lose, right? So that's the fantasy booking of it. Cesaro's going to lose, and we're going to think he's one of those stale, down on his luck kind of guys, and he gets traded over to SmackDown to rejuvenate him or whatever, rejuvenate him. And then the Miz coming over because of his problems with Daniel Bryan, and they have to separate.
Cesaro for Ziggler.
Yeah, because Ziggler does the same thing on the other brand. He's now rejuvenated. Doesn't matter how many times he's lost to The Miz.
Right.
Now he's going to lose to Braun Strowman.
Sure. Hey, that gives someone for Strowman to work, though. That could actually be a good program.
If you're going to put Strowman over on Ziggler, I mean Ziggler might as well retire. You might as well be Iron Dolph Ziggler or Dolph Horowitz at that point. You know what I mean?
Okay. Above average Ziggler.
Above average Ziggler. Like, just call him, like, Doe. Because he doesn't even, like, deserve the rest of his name at that point. He hasn't earned it. You know, he's got to come out in plain, generic tights, no music. He just walks to the ring. He's got to get crew cut.
I think it'd be better if it was like, I'm here to show the world, I'm here to...
And like have it die down.
it just smears out, and then he just walks.
I was always a fan of the "I Am Perfection" song, though.
Yeah,
it's like so much better. But all right. So what were you going to say about the
fantasy booking?
Yeah.
All right. So let's back up to Cesaro and Sheamus. How about they randomly decide to put a time limit on this match, and it's a time limit draw.
3 to 3 to 1.
3 to 3 to 1. And Mick says, well, you both won and you both lost, so your title match is a tag title match at Survivor Series against whoever won at Clash of Champions. And so now you have the story of these two having to become tag team partners.
I'm going to
go for a title.
I'm going to contradict my point of view on that with 2 opposing sides. Like, within myself. I don't have to argue with you. I'm going to argue with myself.
Okay, sounds great. 1,
that is invalidating the best of 7. It's wasting the fans' time. It's insulting. It was dumb. It could have been done quicker than that if they were going to do it at all. The other side of it is, like, that's freaking cool. Like, why not? I just talked about liking Strange Bedfellows. So why not have the classic tag team versus 2 superstars situation where they're both great wrestlers on their own, but can they beat a team that's been tagging for years in Japan together and now in WWE or the New Day or whoever? I love the dynamic of it.
And you can slow
I
burn
hate
it
how we would have to get there,
as long
though.
as you... Yeah, no, how we get there is crappy. I mean, it really is a waste of time. But I mean, you didn't even put all the matches on TV, so it's like.
Well, that's why I say if it's a tie, then Sheamus wins because he's got the better road record, I guess. I don't know. It comes down to like the first one. Cesaro won, not on TV, and away from the United States. 2, he has one victory with a foot on his rope. 3, Sheamus was up. Sheamus was up 3-0. I think all tiebreakers go to Sheamus. So if there is a tie, we can create this whole controversy about tiebreaker rules, and then we can have another match. The score war to settle it all at Survivor Series one more time. Cesaro versus Sheamus.
God, stop it, Larry.
Versus Randy Orton.
Let's make them a tag team. Can they be a tag team, please? They're not bad, and they have good chemistry. They have good matches. It's just, can we see something else from both of them? And have we ever seen Sheamus in a tag team?
Are we kidding?
No, I'm not. I really don't remember.
League of Nations?
That's not a tag team. I mean, like a tag team, like going for the tag titles.
They
like
fought the New Day for the titles. Sheamus and one of the other ones. Twice.
Once.
Pay-per-view and then the next day, right? Oh no, the pay-per-view match wasn't a tag team. I think they had 2 Raw matches.
For some reason, the pay-per-view match wasn't.
Well, because tag team title match don't exist on major pay-per-views.
Yeah, so, yeah, you're right, I guess. But I guess what I'm saying is he has a partner. He's not in a faction, but he has a partner is what I mean. So it's to backpedal. But it's, I don't know. I just think it's something new.
By the way, Heath Slater, Rhino are strange bedfellows who are individuals fighting tag teams. I get that, Internet. Calm down with your comments, please. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. I get it, but they aren't like
I said, friend of your enemy. So
they're
calm
both
down.
baby faces, and this is a baby face and a heel, and probably one of your top heels from the past couple of years in Sheamus, and he's universally hated. Not really, but a lot of people hate him. So
he's got
why
Vicky
not
Guerrero
put them together. Yeah, he does sort of have Vicky Guerrero.
Hashtag underachievers, underutilized. That's the team underutilized. That's their name right there.
Yeah,
Cesaro and Sheamus.
But I mean, they were both. What's funny is it really, you can start weaving that story pretty easily as them being a tag team, because one of them starts saying something and the other guy is hearing his own complaints out of that guy's mouth.
Better or worse, your idea of the tie, or them two just broing it out at the end of the match and respecting each other and then forming a tag team based on it?
No, I think broing it out,
it ruins the dynamic.
Yeah,
but it's also like, hey, we went to war, you came back, you almost got there, I still won in the end, but I said I was going to get an opportunity for a title, and I choose you, my friend, and we're going to go after the tag team titles. I mean, not a dry eye in the house, bro.
I don't know if the match gets enough of a pop in general to actually.
But Darren Young and Bob Backlund don't get enough of a pop, and they still hug every once in a while. I just want to hug. Like, can we just have 2 grown men hugging in the ring like every week?
I could find people that will hug you if you need it.
I mean, Cedric Alexander and Cien Almas hugged by the way tonight, so that's why it's fresh on my mind.
Hey, listen, you got anything?
No, I mean, I have several questions for you. I wrote down, one of them being, what's the better radio TV show, News Radio or WKRP in Cincinnati?
Ooh, they were legends in their time. I mean, that's like asking.
News Radio was kind of like a cult legend, wasn't it? Like,
yeah, I mean, that's like asking who was the better. It's kind of like asking who's your favorite rock band to someone who's been a fan of rock for like decades. You know what I'm saying?
It's easy. Like, Sliders to Cleo.
Of course it is. But anyway, you're messing with me. But
I think News Radio. No, seriously. I think News Radio is better than WKRP only because it's in my time, and because I loved Kids in the Hall, Dave Foley. I loved Phil Hartman, Andy Dick. He was hysterical in that show. Joe Rogan
Really?
before he became the UFC idiot that he is now.
Sure.
Was really good in that show. Like there was a lot of like even Jimmy James. I believe you have my stapler guy was in that show. He was the boss on it, and just Candy Alexander was good before CSI. I mean, it was just really more tyranny, and then John
All right.
Lovitz happened, and then it was
What's your next question?
Okay, what was your favorite episode of News Radio? I think it was when they tried to take the styrofoam cup off the top. Or when
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is for you. I'm the Duke, and he is Larry. You got anything?
No.